Ky është Speakeasy, episodi numër 8. Mund quhet 2026 viti I shqiptarëve. Shqiptarët në politikë në Amerikë. Dhe janë 3 kandidat shumë të shkëlqyer. Zgjedhim të kemi një nga kandidatët më të mira par excellence, si mund ta quajmë, që ta kemi këtu në Speakeasy. Është kandidatja e parë që ka qenë në një bilet për zgjedhje në mos gaboj cili vit ishte që kandiduat që ishte në 2016 ishte kandidate e Partisë Demokratike kundrejt në atë kohë Mike Bishop ishte kandidati që garoi kundër teje. Kemi kënaqësinë pra të kemi këtu me ne Suzanna Shkreli, kandidate për rolin më të rëndësishëm që ka mbajt një grua shqiptare apo një shqiptare këtu në Amerikë për rolin e sekretares së shtetit të shtetit Michigan. Suzanna, mirë se erdhe.
Mirë se gjithme.
Suzanna, could you give us a quick about yourself?
Sure.
Biography, for our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So my father is from Mulqin, from Amul. And my mother is from Dinoshen Grud, and they immigrated in the late 60s. And I grew up hardworking. I tell everybody I grew up, in the restaurant business like so many Albanian Americans, working alongside my parents, and understanding kind of the value of hard work, what it means to make a dollar. And I also grew up playing ice hockey as a kid. There's the picture up there. Yes. Which is kind of random because I don't know at the time, like my mom must have been very forward thinking to let me play hockey, but she wanted me to be a figure skater and my brother to be a hockey player. And I did figure skating, and no shade to figure skaters. It's a beautiful sport, but I needed a little bit more action. So I picked up a hockey stick and she let me play with my brother. And I was kind of a ferocious athlete at the time. I was just all around. And I have this funny story I tell everybody because I got zero respect. There was this kid, Chris Anderson, he was the captain of the team, and he gave me no respect at all until one time there was a fight in the corner and I was alongside him. And after that, we were best of friends for the rest of the season. And I was one of the team. And so I grew up playing ice hockey. I think playing sports as a kid is important because it teaches you when to lead, when to follow. And you're doing something that's bigger than yourself. And in your life, that happens, whether it's politics, whether it's your job, whether it's your family, there's something bigger than yourself. And so it was definitely an entryway into that type of thinking. And so my dad, to this day, he's 70 years old. Edvin, he got a dual kidney transplant in 2023. He gets up and goes to the restaurant every single day. He's doing well, thank God. And I have an incredible story. The other day, I was on a Zoom call with the Livingston County Democratic Party. And there's been this guy named Grant Howe. He likes my stuff on social media. And I was like, who's this Grant guy? He seems like Grant Howe. He seems like a supporter of mine. So I'm on this call and I see his name. I said, hi, Grant. It's nice to see you. He goes, Susie, it's so good to see you. And I'm so happy your dad is doing well. I was one of his nurses on his care team at the University of Michigan. Yeah. So
small world.
It's such a small world. Yeah. And it was incredible. And so, yeah, my dad, he doesn't know what to do without work. It's ingrained in his DNA. And so customer service is important to me. Making sure that when you are at the restaurant, that people are getting what they need fast. That if you are standing at the register and you have a human being in front of you or the phone is ringing, that you go to the human being first, right? I think we have to get back to that. And so one of the things my dad also told me and my siblings was go to school, because he didn't get an opportunity. And I laugh about this because at the time, they say when you grow up, your inner voice is your parents' voice, but I didn't know that as a child. He could have told me to do something else. I would have listened probably, but he always said, go to school and be the best you can be the best you can be. And so, I knew I wanted to get educated. I didn't know I necessarily wanted to be a prosecutor at the time. I always knew that I had an inkling towards justice, whether it was watching the Kosovo crisis on TV as a kid to watching a movie or reading a book. And whenever there was an injustice, I wanted to see it,
get it resolved.
Yeah. And so that was something that really spoke to me. And so, I became educated, and it wasn't until I was, at the prosecutor's office here in Macomb, where I spent nearly a decade doing that work, that I knew I wanted to be a prosecutor. And so I was lucky enough to get hired right out of law school. I spent nearly a decade doing that work. Half of that time, I prosecuted crimes against children. So these are kids that have been abused or even murdered by the people that were supposed to care for them. And really, there has been no greater honor than standing in court and saying, I'm Suzanna Shkreli on behalf of the people, and defending those children and defending those families. To this day, everyone asks me, what's been your favorite job? And it's hard. Each job gets better than the next, but that has a special place in my heart, that job. So, yeah.
Was it tough back then?
Yeah.
Because you have been inclined to serve in the public office. Mm-hmm. You served as a prosecutor, mm-hmm. and then in the administration of Governor Whitmore. Mm-hmm. So what's the spark? Why the public office?
Yeah, I think what really triggered it for me was serving as a prosecutor, and then seeing people come into court, hundreds of cases, case after case after case, where it started me to think, had me thinking, like, why is this person here today? What brought them here? Has there been a failure in the system, or what has happened in their life that has brought them before the judge? Because really, I think you can say, yes, some people make mistakes in their life and they end up before a judge. But when you are in front of a judge endless times, you do have to wonder what happened in their life from a policy perspective that led here, And so it had me interested in politics. And I actually took a course because at the time I was a prosecutor in Macomb County. I was having these thoughts about policy making. And I remember some prosecutors there that were a little bit older than me. They were Polish. One was Polish in particular. And he said, you can't serve as a judge unless you're Italian or unless you're Polish, and I thought that was true because that's all I saw was, and listen, I know the bench here in Macomb County, the Servitos are great, the Sotalskis are great, they're wonderful judges, but I was 24 years old, I didn't know any better, and I was a lawyer too, which was funny. And so I was like, I could never be a judge because you have to be Italian or Polish. That's what they told me. So I remember doing some research and finding this group of women that were interested in policymaking and politics. And so I signed up and I did it. And it was there in that room that I realized that I could represent the community in a different capacity. And so really one thing led to another. I ended up getting selected, recruited to run as a Democrat for the Michigan 8th Congressional District in 2016. And, I was endorsed by President Obama. We went red to blue. I outperformed Democrats at the top of the ticket in 2016, but we lost. That was the Trump year.
Understand, but you have been a role model for many Albanians mm-hmm. that are, getting involved in politics nowadays. Mm-hmm. And you have been, as I could say, even though you lost, mm-hmm. you have been the top tier of the Albanians throughout the Albanian diaspora in Michigan and throughout. Nobody has been on a main ticket running for a congressional district for the U.S. Congress.
Yeah.
So does that make you proud? Because even though you lost, you continued striving and running for
yes.
Public office.
Well, Edvin, thank you for that. I oftentimes I'm such a competitor that, like, to me, it's life or death, to win or to die. Like, that's how it feels. And I know that there are other candidates that are running, like Rennis and Robert, and and then Rob Donovich also serves as a city councilman in Livonia. I think we are, as Albanian Americans, just tough and very competitive and want to succeed. And I think a lot of that has to do with how I saw my parents work. Is that I saw how much they sacrificed for my siblings and I wasn't gonna take, any opportunity and squander it. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to fight the hardest, and have the most conviction. And so for a while, it took me some time to really have that perspective that although I lost, I still won in so many other ways. But I did. If I wouldn't have ran, I wouldn't have met the governor. I wouldn't have served in her cabinet in 2 positions as one of her lawyers. And so it really those 7 years has taught me so much about leadership. I have state executive experience. I've overseen the Michigan Lottery with over 8 regional offices, 200 employees, multi-billion-dollar enterprise. And so I've had to deal with tough situations with staff and management and things along those lines. And so it's only made me a better candidate and a better public servant.
What pushed you to run for Secretary of State?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a leap forward from public office in Macomb County, then public office for the state government. Now being as one of the top in the state government.
Yeah, it is definitely a big job. And I'm realizing that every day when I'm traveling across the state. Really, Edmund, there has been so much politicization. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but our system is so politicized.
Yes.
And there are attacks on our elections every single day. There's a lot of undermining of our elections, and you have clerks, and the courts have held time and time again that our elections are safe and secure. And to me, and you know this better than I, but to be born in this country and to live in this country and to be able to cast your ballot and have it count and that it matters is a privilege that not a lot of people understand. And so I don't want to see us slide back to a time that most Americans wouldn't recognize, but other people would, because they've come from those situations. And so, I was really motivated, one, to stand up to protect our Constitution and our way of life and our right to vote. But also, I think that my background in customer service in that restaurant, learning those values as a kid, I've taken those values with me in every position I've held. And I'm really proud to be accessible, proud to want to help people. And I think when you have service without heart, then you get bureaucracy. And we need really to help people. I've been talking to people across the state. I was in Hillsdale County, and I heard from a woman who talked about this 83-year-old woman that she saw in Coldwater, which is a city more in southwest Michigan. And this 83-year-old woman had gone to help her friend. She had gotten her documents because she was bedridden to go and get her registered to vote. And because she didn't have an appointment, she was turned away. And so, you can't do that. You have to serve people, and you have to find a path to yes. And so, I hear stories like that, and I said, well, of course, that's not a slight against the current Secretary of State. I just think there's bureaucracy. And so you have to figure out where that bureaucracy is and make it better for people. And so I think that valuing customer service is something that's in my heart, and wanting to make sure that people get what you need. And if I'm at the restaurant now, Edvin, and I see somebody waiting because I got to get up and help them, it's just part of how you're raised, And so you leave the restaurant, but you never leave the restaurant. You're always in it.
For us, for the mass in general, they are accustomed to the Secretary of State. Anytime they visit the Secretary of State's office for a registration, to register their car or get an ID or something. So what does the Secretary of State do? Give a quick perspective.
Sure. Well, the Secretary of State serves as the Chief Elections Officer. And so the Governor serves as the Chief Executive Officer, the Attorney General serves as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer, and the Secretary of State serves as the Chief Elections Officer. And so really promulgating rules that govern how elections are administered, providing resources and trainings to our clerks. There are over 1,500 cities and municipalities that conduct elections every year, and making sure that they have what they need. The Secretary of State doesn't touch a ballot, but they oversee
how the votes are counted, and everything gets casted.
They're the ones that set the rules to interpret the law that's passed. And so we've seen a lot of expansion recently. A lot of people seem to forget that we made conscious decisions here in Michigan to expand access to the ballot box. There was a ballot proposal called Promote the Vote that allowed same-day registration, no reason absentee, because many years ago you had to have a reason in order to vote absentee. And then we implemented a 9-day early voting. And so all of these changes have happened in the last 13 years, and it's been a lot for the clerks to have to administer. And so, but all of those changes have been done via ballot proposal. So you have to get a certain amount of signatures, then it gets put on the ballot, and then you vote for it, and then it becomes part of the Constitution. It's so we did this together as Michiganders to make it easier for people to vote. But that's not all that the Secretary of State's office does. Like you said, they oversee license and registration for your cars, for your boats. If you have a suspended license, you have to, if you want to appeal that, you have to go, before the administrative arm of the Secretary of State's office in order to reinstate your license. They also oversee campaign finance. So any candidate who's running for office has to file reports. Lobbyists that are required to file reports about where they're taking them to dinner or what have you, that has to be filed as well. So there's a campaign finance arm of this. And so you investigate campaign finance violations, but also there's a website that's available to the public. That rollout hasn't gone very well. We had gone from the MERTS system to MyMitten, and it needs to be fixed. And so that's something that I hear about all the time when I'm out there talking to people. And then, what I hear from people as well is they like the accessibility of government. And so I was in Iosco County, and a woman told me that she used to work at Kroger and she used to work the grocery line. She said, Susie, you won't even understand how many people come through the grocery line and realize that their driver's license is expired. They walk up to the kiosk and they're able to get their license. And that initiative was actually started by Ruth Johnson, a Republican. And so, these are advancements that people make to make life easier, regardless of party. And Jocelyn Benson implemented the appointments process. So, but still, and it's wonderful and it's great and it's made a difference for people. But if you walk in on a Monday, sometimes you'll be turned away. And so we gotta make sure that the pendulum swings, and make sure there's some balance. But yeah, I mean, there's a number of things that also oversee notary public. It's really I jokingly say, not jokingly, it's true. It's like a miscellaneous office for government functions. It's like a gateway into government. And I call it the people's office, just like the district court when I was a prosecutor is the people's court, because you got to go there for a ticket. You got to go there for this. Everybody has some interaction with the Secretary of State's office. It's basically a gateway into government.
So basically, if the Secretary of State did not function well, obviously the government would not operate and function well, because there is midterm voting, there is presidential voting. Sure. So you guys oversee everything.
So the Secretary of State doesn't actually touch a ballot. Oversee of how... Yeah, there's a Bureau of Elections, yes, and the State Board of Canvassers, and so their job is to canvass the vote. Canvass basically is a fancy word for audit, and then they certify the vote. But elections are administered very at the most local level, and that's actually a policy that has been implemented since the dawn of this country. Is there's such a focus on making sure that government is local, and you see that with elections and how they're administered. You see that through school board. A lot of people will think that the Michigan Department of Education sets curriculum. No, it's your local school board. So much of our government, there is an emphasis on it being locally driven, because the thought there is that communities should be in charge of how things are done and how their cities and municipalities are ran. And so that's how elections work too. And elections are... I really encourage everybody to volunteer to work an election. I've worked a few in my life with my brother, Paul. I was 18. I was so excited to vote. And you get to see how the process works. It's your neighbors, it's your teachers that are helping run elections. And we have to make sure that they're safe for people and that these threats, that... I
did work once in Troy.
Did you? Okay,
yes.
Nice. And how was your experience?
It was good.
Yeah, and you get to see how they work, right? And so, the tabulators are not connected to the internet. We have paper ballots. They're safe and they're secure. And, I think that needs to be the message that people understand. Because when there's threats against the elections, it really does make government workers unsafe and more dangerous. And it makes the people volunteering them unsafe as well. And without these volunteers and without these clerks, our elections can't run.
So, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, this year it's the year of the Albanian Americans candidates.
Sure.
So You have done, I mean, a lot for the Albanian community, representing the Albanian community in many positions that you held throughout your career. How can we help you?
Well, Edvin, I actually want to talk about a couple of things before I get into that. I had the privilege of, and any opportunity that I have is given because someone before me has carved a path, and that someone, for example, John Yunchai, for example, he had served in the Department of State in Albania, and my first introduction to Shkreli was when he asked me to come and speak on behalf of victim rights, and so I went, and I had the most amazing time visiting. We were in Fier and we were in Durrës and we were in Gjirokastër and Saranda, and I got to meet with groups of Albanian prosecutors and police to talk about victim rights, and I felt so honored to be able to go as an Albanian American prosecutor in Albania. Like, it was such a wonderful thing for me, and it only deepened my pride and love for Albania and obviously Malci and Kosovo, and then the next time I had gone in 2017, I got to go to Kosovo with by invitation by my friend Liza Gashi, who invited me to do Diaspora Flet, and so I was able to visit different cities in Kosovo, and so I got to see so much of that part of the world, and then having visited Malci and Ulqin, because my family's from there, I have gotten the opportunity to really visit and just develop such a love and tie to my parents' homeland, and it's really cool to be there and to hear everybody speaking Albanian. And I think every kid, every Albanian American kid should do that. And so I know there's a program, Origin AL. I know my friend Mark Cosmo from Massachusetts
Yes.
is helping with that, and I think that was the brainchild from Diaspora Flet at some point. But programs like that, it's like what the Jewish Americans do with birthright citizenship, right? They go and not citizenship, right? Birthright, where they go and visit Israel and they're able to see the country of their ancestors. And so, yeah, I mean, there's that. So I feel very like blessed to have the opportunity to go there, and then just in my roles, although symbolic, we issue proclamations when I was in the governor's office. And so I took pride in issuing the first Albanian American Independence Day proclamation, as well as the first Kosovo Independence Day proclamation. It's although it's a proclamation that the governor signs, it's something symbolic. And I think it's important, though, that it exists because it's an area of representation that we previously didn't have, right? And so, I'm just proud of my roots, proud to be an American of Albanian heritage, and I tell everybody my family story when I'm out there meeting Democrats in Alpena and Iosco and Grand Traverse. And next week I'm going to the UP. I'm gonna go up there and visit 13 counties. But how can Albanians help me? Was your question? Well, so normally, like with Rennis's race and Robert's race, you go to a ballot box and you have a ballot and you bubble in who you want. My election is different, and my election is easier in some ways and harder in other ways. It's easier in the sense that it's less people that are voting, but it's harder in the sense that we have we need people to come vote for me. And so how do you come vote for me? Well, you have to register with the Democratic Party before March 20th. It is a non-public registration, and it lasts for a year, and it doesn't stop you from voting for whoever you want in August. And you can do it on my website, vote.suzannashkreli.com, and we have basically 2-3 easy steps. It says step 1, register as a Democrat for free. Step 2, commit to vote for Susie. So you have to register.
So if they commit to vote for Susie, how does that...
So the step 1 is just register as a Democrat before March 20th. That's what people have to do. The commit to vote for Susie is basically if you sign up for our email list, you're in our database and we know to help organize you. But really the cutoff day for the next 2 weeks is registering as many Albanian Americans I can to come. And it's pretty simple. It takes 2 minutes. It's basically asks for your name, your number, your email, your address, and what you do for work. And you just submit, and then you get an email that says, welcome to the party, and then you're eligible to come vote for me. Then step 2 is really organizing, bringing people there. So I'm telling all my little cute cousins, I'm like, grab your friends, register to vote, hop in the car, and come down to Huntington Place.
What's the lowest age you can come and vote?
16.
16.
16, yeah, because usually to vote in a normal election you have to be 18, but here you just have to be a member of the Michigan Democratic Party, and they allow you to register at 16, and therefore you can come vote that day. And so register with the party by March 20th, and then the vote actually happens on April 19th, which is a Sunday. And so our plan is to have buses, to invest in transportation to make it easier for people. I'd love to put a bus at the church, a bus at the teche, and allow people to come and then be dropped off right in front. And then you have to get in line and get a credential. All a credential is basically proof that you're registered and that you showed up, and then it's basically a lanyard with your name that you're a delegate, and then the vote happens in the afternoon. And so I'm telling everybody, we want to make it easier for you. Register by March 20th. April 19th is the day you have to show up. You can go by your own. We can help you. I want to provide buses and transportation for people to make it easier. But we're also going to have food there. It's going to be fun. We're going to have T-shirts. I have one on today. It's my logo. And really, I need all the help I can get in order to win this. And so easier in some ways, harder in other ways. Easier in the sense that it's only maybe 5,000 to 8,000 people that are going to come to this party convention, but harder in the sense that we have to organize our community. And so I'm just asking everybody, if you can spare that Sunday, just come down and cast your ballot for me, and it'll mean all the difference.
How many candidates are there?
There's 3 on the Democratic side. So there's a woman in Ingham County, Lieutenant Governor is running as well, and then I'm running in the Democratic side. And on the Republican side, there's the clerk of Macomb County, a woman named Monica Yatuma, and Amanda Love, a school board member out of Clarkston. So 3 versus 3. But each party does it. The Republicans have their convention March 28th.
So they do it the same way as you guys do it. For Secretary of State, or no?
Yeah, they do it. So in the law, it basically it's not just Secretary of State. It's Attorney General, Secretary of State, University of Michigan Board of Regents,
yes.
Wayne County Board of Governors, MSU Trustee, State Board of Education. So there's a certain number of races that have been selected to be nominated in this way. But theirs is a little bit different because you actually have to have formal status with the party. You have to be a delegate or something. The Democrats, you just have to register with the party and then you're eligible to vote. And so that's what I'm telling everybody. Vote.suzannashkreli.com. Step 1, register with the party. It takes 2 minutes. It's free. Once you register with the party, you're free to come vote for me on April 19th.
So how has the Albanian community, during this journey, since you started,
Sure.
we seen your ad on TV and you started your campaign. Mm-hmm. How has the Albanian community helped you out?
Yeah, well, the community is amazing and is supportive, and people reach out. Like I had John Gochi reached out to host a fundraiser at Mike and Mona's last week. My cousins showed up. People that had heard about the campaign showed up, and it really means the world to me to see my community come and support me. The Albanian American Institute with Kolji Vanaj and Joseph Dedvukai. And then, there's so many other people, Vilson Sinishtai, I know he's no longer on the Chachata, but he is supportive of my campaign as well. And if people are reaching out saying, how can I help? Can I volunteer? Can I donate? Can I do this? So, it's really heartwarming to see people come out and support. And it means a lot to me. And I have to tell you, I've been traveling the state. It's not easy work. If people knew what this was like, it's incredible. And some days I'm driving and I'm just like, oh my God, I was in 6 different counties. I met so many different people I would have never otherwise ever met. And what we're trying to do is incredible. And
it's like a marathon.
It's like a marathon, yes. And there have been a couple times where I've been like Kosovo Independence Day. I was at the Albanian American Islamic Center, and then I had gone to the church, and I have. At each place, I have a mother come up to me and say, my daughter wants to meet you. And I look, and there's this beautiful little girl with these big eyes looking at me, and she's like, my daughter wants to be like you. And I'm like, oh, honey, that's so sweet. You're gonna be, whatever I'm doing, I know you can do times 10, and so in those moments when I see a little Albanian girl, look at me like that, and it makes all of it worth it, even the hard days. So
I heard that was at an event, and someone said that besides my political beliefs, I rather be Democrat for one day and Albanian for life.
Yes,
so
yes. It was Everest.
It's the Albanian community wants their own to be in public office. Want their own to be, they want to be represented.
Yes.
In some way. And since they have been an asset to this country, they have not been a burden to this country. So hard work does persevere.
That's true. That's true.
So March 20th.
Yes.
To register by March 20th.
Yes.
To vote on April
19. Yes, yes. And if you are interested in helping, I have an Albanian intern. Her name is Bianca. She's from Eastern Michigan. Tomorrow we're going to be at those International Women's Day celebrations in all 3 different places. So I'll be out there helping people get registered to come vote for us. And we really need to bring, several 100,000 people to come that day. And so it means a lot to me. I think, whether you identify as a Republican or a Democrat, knowing that there's somebody in the community that you can reach out to for help is important, because it's not really the party designation. It's once you're Secretary of State, you're Secretary of State for all Michiganders. And so I'm not going to treat anyone differently because they're Republican than I would a Democrat. And so, and I think that's important too. Like Senator Slotkin, for example, she's consciously making outreach to our community to make sure, like, if there's anything that anybody needs, please call me. If it's an immigration issue or if it's this issue, the community can call my office and I will try to help. I mean, that's their job. And they don't ask, are you a Republican or Democrat? They just want to help. And so I do think we have to get back to being normal, normal society that takes people as they are, more so than anything else, right? Because I have so many friends on the Republican side of things as well. And I think as long as a person is a good person that wants to do well and has integrity and makes us as a community look good, then we should be proud of them.
I see this as a door wide open for younger Albanians. There's not going to be pride only for you, but it's going to be a pride for all the Albanian Americans living in Michigan and throughout in America. Yeah. So what's your message to the community?
Well, it's funny because I see, like, my friend in Texas, Dag Vranici and Gino Milici, they're Republicans, and I'm so proud of the work that they're doing. And Robert's running. I'm excited for him as well, and in his path, and Rennis and Rob Donovich and Violeta Berisha in Massachusetts. I mean, my friend Vedat Gashi in New York, Emiliana Ulay as well. So I notice, I see, and I'm proud, and I really wish everybody the best in their endeavors. And for me, for my community, for this moment, it really is a small sum of people that can propel me forward. A small sum of our community that shows up and decides to dedicate their Sunday to making me the next Secretary of State. And I really need your help. I would love if you all could give me a hand in order to make this happen. I'm someone who is accessible, someone who's around, someone who wants to help. And I have the heart of service, and I really feel like I can make the community proud in this position, but I can't get there without you. So if you can please register with the Michigan Democratic Party by March 20th, and we will make sure that we get you down there to vote.
Thank you, Suzanna. We wish you the best, and do not forget to register to vote. March 20th, the last day. and you vote on April 19. At least be a Democrat. Let's not politicize the scene. Be a Democrat for one day and Albanian for life. Let's help our own. This way we help our own. Thank you, Suzy.
Thank you, Edvin. Shumë faleminderit. Thank you.